What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about a lot of our free agents, DeMar DeRozan and Andre Drummond, but one person we haven't really talked about is a restricted free agent and a very interesting deal that could potentially happen for the Bulls, and that is Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams, at the end of the day, is a player that I am very indifferent about. Without further ado, we're going to be discussing it in this video. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe the Bulls will bring back Patrick Williams in this upcoming free agency period. Now, Patrick Williams played 43 games for the Bulls this season, a very big drop off from his 82 games last season, but he averaged 10 points per game, 3.9 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. So, you might be asking, why did I mention no stats? Well, the reason why I mentioned no stats is to carry over to my first point with Patrick Williams, and that is, we haven't seen dramatic improvements from Patrick Williams from his very beginning of his season up until now. I encourage you guys, because I'm not going to read you every single piece of stat he's had for the past, 4 seasons he's been around. But look at his very beginning to where he is now, and the stats are not that big of a difference for pretty much any category, which absolutely sucks, because Patrick Williams, when he first came into the league, was deemed as someone with massive potential. He was linked to guys like Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler. They basically called him a superstar from the very beginning, and it turned out that in the 4 years that we have seen, there's been little to no improvements made for Patrick Williams. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news. I don't mean to be the one to be disrespectful. I don't mean to be the one that ruins that potential for Patrick Williams, but I can only go based off what I've seen over the past 4 seasons. So with that lack of improvement we have seen from Patrick Williams, the questions still need to be asked constantly about what we are going to do with him in restricted free agency. So, first thing, the question that we need to ask ourselves, do you still see the potential in Patrick Williams? Do you still see the superstardom in Patrick Williams? Or do you see someone that's going to be very consistent throughout the course of his career but might not ever reach that superstar status? You know, guys like Kobe White and Ayo, their development has been completely different from Patrick Williams. Kobe White's had up and down, and now he's on the way up. Ayo, very good first season, very, very average second season, based on efficiency at least. And then the third reason, he skyrocketed back to a really, really good standing with the Chicago Bulls. Patrick Williams has just been gradually the same. It's like a line. You might see a little bit up, but, not that much. Not that much. And it's something that we have to consider. I mean, what happens if we, with Patrick Williams, we just never see that big leap? You have to genuinely ask these questions. And in my opinion, I've been saying over the past couple of weeks, and I think it needs to remain true today, I see Patrick Williams as a player that should not be seen as a superstar anymore. Because in my opinion, at this point in time, 4 years into his development, I know he's still really, really young, and there's still so much to learn for a player like Patrick Williams. And by no means am I saying we should give up on him, but I feel like viewing him as a superstar is something he needs to now bring to his own game. He needs to make us believe it instead of us believing it based on potential. I don't believe it based on potential anymore. I need to see him do it for me to believe it now. So it's a completely different mindset and attitude I have towards Patrick Williams. Right now, I see him for what he is. A really good forward that could get you 10 points per game, plays really good defense, an efficient three-point shooter, a solid 3-and-D player. There's many of them around the league, and we have one of them on our team. So with that being said, if you're paying Patrick Williams based on potential, you have to really ask that question of what potential is for Patrick Williams. Is it superstardom, or is it, potential based on consistency? I genuinely don't know. The second thing you need to ask is the teams around us. Restricted free agency doesn't necessarily give us the favoritism, if you know what I mean. Yes, we can match the contracts, but the Bulls are in a very interesting financial predicament. We want to re-sign DeMar DeRozan. We want to re-sign Andre Drummond. There might not be that much money left for Patrick Williams. So the other teams will play a factor. Teams like the Pistons have been interested in Patrick Williams for years and probably still are interested in Patrick Williams. Would they put an offer on the table that we can't refuse? And I'm sure other teams would be interested as well. Teams that need solid bench production, I think, would be looking at Patrick Williams as a guy that can get 10 points per game, efficient shooting, and can play some defense. There are teams that I think will be interested in Patrick Williams of what he brings to the table. So, can the Bulls match those offers? Can the Bulls give an offer to Patrick Williams that's worthy of him accepting it straight away, like we did with Coby White? We gave Coby White $11 million a season plus incentives, and he's lived up to pretty much every single one of those incentives, so he's getting a decent contract for his second contract in the NBA. Will Patrick Williams get the same? A lot of questions to be asked. What I think? Well, I can't see a world where we don't at least try to keep Patrick Williams. Like I said, just because I don't see him as a superstar does not mean I don't see him as a valuable asset to any team that comes his way, including the Bulls. I would take a 3-and-D player any day of the week, especially with how bad our three-point shooting is in general. Losing one of your better three-point shooters is not the way to go, in my opinion. So just because I don't see him as a superstar, doesn't mean I don't see him as a valuable piece to the Bulls. He may be considered a flop on the 4th overall pick, but I still think he brings value to a team. And that is something that I don't want to lose right now. So, my answer to this question about what we should do with Patrick Williams in restricted free agency, we should try to keep him. In an ideal situation, if no team is interested, he should not be getting paid more than Coby White. Coby White's our second best player, averaging 19 points per game, was in the most improved category, and is living up to be very much above what his current contract is. Patrick Williams just might get above Coby White in terms of how much he's getting paid, based on the fact that, people still see the potential in him. I'm assuming his agents are going to play really deep into that, and he's a forward. And good forwards are hard to come by these days. So I do think he'll get paid more than Coby White, even though I think he shouldn't. The most important thing is we shouldn't be overpaying crazy amounts. There was at one point at the beginning of last season where people were saying Patrick Williams wanted $200 million. No way. I'm sorry, we may not have good forwards, we may lose another forward if that's the case, but I'm not willing to give anybody $200 million as a contract right now. Just not the way to go. So I wouldn't give Patrick Williams $200 million. I wouldn't even give Patrick Williams $20 million a season. I don't think he's worth that. But if you're going to get to the point where it's around 10 to 15 million, I'd keep him around. Because I like Patrick Williams. And I do see the value he could bring. And it's very similar to the Javonte Green situation. We didn't know what we lost with Javonte Green until we lost it. Patrick Williams was out for half the season this year. And I think when he comes back, you're going to remember what you like about Patrick Williams compared to what you disliked about him. You'll like what he brings to the table compared to what you thought he was bad at and stuff of that nature. So just because he hasn't played in a while, don't let that blind your opinion in many ways. Because you might have that same feeling of, man, we really missed Patrick Williams. Maybe we don't. Who knows? But I'd keep him around for the right price. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new. And I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.